name is Tanya. I'm new here. I've never actually made a YouTube video before. So the first thing I'd like to say is English is not my first language, nor is it my second language. It's my third language, which means it is the language I am least proficient in. So bear with me. Also, as you may have noticed, I do have a bit of a lisp, which might make me a bit harder to understand, but I'll try as best I can to put captions on this video, and yeah, that's it. So what I would like to do is to go through my current favorite books with you, explain why they're my favorites, what I think makes them so special. That's it basically. So, my first pick is very basic, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I think what makes it so unique, in my opinion, is that it's extremely immersive, which mystery books tend to be, but this feels very different. It delves into the depths of the human psyche, and it's a very interesting exploration of guilt. So what happens is we have a few university students, and there just so happens to be a murder, and we explore the guilt of the people involved. That's all I have to say about the plot, since I don't want to spoil it. It is littered with beautiful prose. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. She's such a talented writer, and I just loved it so much. I was never much of a mystery book type of person, but this may have changed everything for me. So my first recommendation, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Okay, my second pick is a bit controversial, but I do think it deserves a spot on here. It is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. Now, this book is problematic, and I will admit that. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's absolutely perfect, because it's not, and it feels extremely unrealistic in the way it addresses male relationships. But, and it's a big but, the writing is so beautiful. I think Hanya Yanagihara is such a talented writer. She has a way of stringing sentences together so eloquently, and I just couldn't put it down. It really is a page turner. Now, that is to say there isn't much of a plot, so if you like a plot-based story, this may not be for you. This is wholly character-based. So it's about a few college friends, though really it's about one person, Jude, who has a lot of unaddressed childhood trauma, and it explores the way he deals with it throughout his life, how it affects his relationships, his friendships, his relationship with his adoptive parents, and so on. It does have every single trigger you could possibly imagine, which doesn't bother me, but if you're a sensitive person, then maybe look up the triggers before you pick this one up. Okay. Now, my next pick I actually don't have here with me, since I lent it to my boyfriend. The next book I would like to talk about is a non-fiction book. It is a memoir by a doctor named Adam Kay. The book is called This Is Going to Hurt. It is probably the funniest book I've ever read. It's absolutely hilarious. It's just a collection of his diaries, the notes he kept as a young doctor, and it's so funny. He is a comedian, he is a comedy writer, so he has a talent for that, but it's also completely heartbreaking, because it makes you truly understand what healthcare workers go through and how difficult it is to work in that industry, how much the country does not really appreciate them, even though they work for the NHS. And it's very sad, but it's also very funny. just very emotional on both ends. I can't recommend it enough. If you really want something that will make you laugh aloud while reading it, definitely go for This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. Now, my next pick is a modern classic. It is Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. I've read this recently. I've read it last year, I believe, and it very quickly became one of my favorite books. It is about a man. His name's Charlie. Charlie is retarded. He has a very low IQ, and in this world, scientists have come up with a surgery which could help boost your intelligence, essentially. There's this rat named Algernon who has had the surgery and displayed really impressive results, so they want to test it on a human subject, which is where Charlie comes in. They have Charlie do the surgery, and this book is basically the diary that they have him keep. The doctors instruct him to keep a diary to see how his mental state changes as he gets smarter. And I just love the way it's written. So in the first chapters you can see he has a ton of spelling mistakes. He doesn't really know how to speak correctly, and you slowly see those spelling errors disappear throughout the story as he gets smarter. And it's just a very interesting mental exploration of realizing, once you get smarter, realizing what people thought of you before you were smart, how they might view you as less than human. I just think it's an amazing read, and if you're having trouble getting into classics specifically, definitely try this. Okay, so my final pick is probably my favorite book of all time. Now, please excuse the cover. It does have a really, really beautiful version, but I only buy used books, so I can't really pick and choose which version I get. So I have this ugly version of Marabou Stork Nightmares by Irvine Welsh. Now, you all have probably heard about Irvine Welsh. He wrote Trainspotting, which is a very popular book, but this is something completely different. It is an experimental novel. Let me just show you what I mean here. It doesn't really flow like a normal book would, so it's kind of hard to get into it first. It doesn't take a very long time to get used to, but it may deter some people from reading it. But let me tell you, it's absolutely worth it. I mean, I have never read a book which has left me completely shocked to the core. Nothing came close to this, okay? My jaw just dropped by the end. It's insane. Also, one thing to note is Irvine Welsh does write with a Scottish accent, which means you sort of have to imagine how the words sound if you want to understand it. That can be a little irritating. It took me about 10 pages to get used to it as well, so it's not an issue. But I don't even know if I should tell you about the plot of the book. I feel like anything would spoil it. If you like dark, really, really dark reads, it's probably the darkest book I've ever read, I have to say. Much more so than A Little Life. If you love dark reads, you really should try this one. Note that it does contain every single trigger you can think of, kind of like A Little Life does, but it's 100% worth it. Seriously, if you have never heard of this book before, give it a try. You will not be disappointed. So that's basically it. Those are my current favorite books. It's all bound to change, I guess. But for now, these are the ones I like most. Tell me down in the comments what you think of those books, if you have read them, or tell me what your favorite books are. I would be happy to hear. Thanks, bye!